this spare mic here? Can I have this? Oh, yeah, thank you. All right. Hey, everyone. So, as you can see, the topic is written right there. I'm not going to read it again. So I should speak like that, right? Yeah, all right, cool. All right. So yeah, anyway, what I wanted to start with is, I wanted to ask you this question, because in the announcement that Homie Chat made a couple of days ago, there was an interesting phrase is it okay to be a little selfish sometimes? Right? So I have a question to you guys. When we speak about selfishness, is there such a thing as a little? Can you be a little selfish at all?
No.
Is it?
No way.
No, right? So yeah, see, I agree with that, right? Because you either are selfish or you're not, right? And here we come to a very important question before I even begin to tell you about things that make rational selfishness and not just total selfishness. I want to ask you about your understanding of it, right? So what is selfishness to you? Who wants to answer? Yeah, that's usually a scary word for people. But okay, anyone? Okay, so what is selfishness to you?
When I think about myself in the first place.
All right, so when you think about yourself in the first place, all right, so yeah, okay, so there was someone, okay, so here's the second one. Yeah.
In my opinion, actually, about your previous question, to be selfish is okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, is there such a thing as a little?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right, so there is such a thing as a little. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So, and in my opinion, to be selfish, it's to think about yourself first, and then to think about something or someone else.
All right, good one. All right, nice.
Selfishness, in my opinion, is when a person has so many problems that he isn't able to concentrate his attention to the other people.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, when you think about yourself, first, also you think about yourself first, and then you think about other people, and you have a lot of problems that you cannot concentrate on other people. All right, these are all good ones. Okay, let me give you the actual root of selfishness, in terms of what underlies this very term. Selfishness, in its very root, is just your ability to live in accordance to your own judgment and not subdue to the judgments of other people first, right? That's why it's called rational selfishness. So first you make a judgment, you decide it yourself, and if someone tells you some other thing, you have your own thing. You don't have to just blindly listen to someone and follow their maybe advice, maybe worldview, or whatever that might be, right? And the thing about keeping the rational selfishness in you is about actually four things: living according to your own judgment, and pursuing your own interests. It comes down to four things. Who here has read Atlas Shrugged? I'm just wondering. Atlas Shrugged? Yeah, all right, so one person, two people, good. All right, okay, so in this case, you will have an understanding of what I'm about to tell you. There's a beautiful piece, one sentence really, that really comprises all of this in just one simple idea. Do you guys remember what John Galt said when he opened the door to this motor? In English? Yeah, something about life. Do you remember? Yeah, okay. So he says, "I swear by my life and my love of it, that I will never live for the sake of another man, nor ask another man to live for mine." And man here means just a human, not just a male or a female, but just any human. There are four things in there that you have to consider. First, to be rationally selfish, to be objectively selfish and morally right doing so, First, you have to have like self-esteem, which Gayani, right? Yeah, Gayani has already told you about, and you have to have independence. These are the first two things, right? To become rationally selfish. This is the first part. I swear by my life and my love of it. First, you just accept that you have enough like power in your judgment and you have enough substantiality in your judgment that you can make it, right? And second, you accept your independence from all other people's judgments, meaning that you and only you are responsible for living whatever life you want to live, right? Those are the first two. Then we come to this part that I will never, that I will never live for another man's sake. This is the third principle I want you to consider, and the third principle is non-sacrifice. Now, this is really tricky for a lot of people because sacrifice is kind of one of those words that people, I don't want to say afraid of, but people feel uncomfortable in the presence of, and people usually mistake sacrifice for something else. Sacrifice here means, or non-sacrifice anyway, non-sacrifice means that you never exchange something that is of value to you for something of less value, right? You only exchange something of value for something of equal value or something of higher value. Because if you exchange, all right, so is it time? Like, what? All right, so anyway, so if you have this fair exchange, it means that this is trade or this is an investment. But if you make a sacrifice in favor of something of less value, this is sacrifice, right? And probably the biggest life hack of all here is I want to suggest and to recommend that you really, really think about your hierarchy of values, right, that you have. Because to make your life about fair trade or fair investments and not sacrifice, you have to really know what you value, right? So if it's people around you, right? So maybe there are some traits that they have, like honesty and dedication and integrity, whatever the case might be, right? So if people, for example, possess those qualities, then you're willing to do something for them, right? If people don't, and they ask you to, to do the dishes or throw out the trash, you just can't, refuse, and that will be morally justifiable, right? So, self-esteem, independence, non-sacrifice. And here we come to the fourth thing, which is nor ask another man to live for mine, which is really, really important because this is also a matter that people have problems with for some reason. This thing is called reciprocity, all right? Reciprocity is when you understand that when you ask something of someone, they have a right to ask something of you, or if you don't ask something of someone, they don't have that right either, right? That's reciprocity, okay? We kind of, like, in my experience, people who have come to some stage of rational selfishness don't really have a conflict with people who ask the same thing of them. And that cannot happen, right? So if you accept the first three things and some person does the same thing to you, you should be fine with it, right? And when you combine all of those things, when you combine your acceptance of the ability to live your life according to your judgment, when you take responsibility for it, when you do not sacrifice your values of the first two things for values of lesser margin, and when you can accept that other people are going to follow the same philosophy, you're going to reach rational selfishness. You're never, I can honestly say that you're never going to have any conflicts with people because you're all going to live like a self-sufficient correctly and like have the most effective communications and lifestyle ever. Period.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Guys, any questions? That was really smart. If nobody, still, you already have an idea. Okay, good.
Do you have, it's not a question,
Okay.
do you have a text of your topics you were sending to
Text?
Again, yes, a text.
Well, I have it here, but yeah, so no, I don't have the text. I have like a small plan I can share it with you, like yeah, for sure, no worries. But a full text, no, I never have full text for my speeches. Why?
Like a president's speech, full text of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are no people who prepare it for me. So yeah.
You really rocked it. I totally agree with like 3/4 of what you said, but what I can't agree with is your definition of sacrifice.
Okay.
You tell that sacrifice is something that really less, but tell me, if you sell your apartment to pay for a kid's surgery, is it a sacrifice?
It's not.
Because
yeah, I'll tell you why.
How do you call it?
It's not sacrifice. You're getting much more for your money here, right? So if you, okay, so you're talking about like, I totally understand your confusion here, but you cannot look at sacrifice in terms of just material value. There is such thing as, I don't know, have you read Black Swan?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. So in this case, you know such a thing as mental accounting. There is such a thing as mental accounting. So,
It was long ago.
yeah, sure. Right. So yeah, mental accounting like presumes, well not presumes, just tells you that there are things for which when you pay money, you just and you can call it losing money.
You think you
just
get more.
You give money for the sake of giving money, and you're getting something out of it, right? So if you sell your apartment to pay for your kids' health, your kids' health is more valuable to you than that amount of money. It's not sacrifice.
Absolutely okay, but I need an example of a perfect sacrifice. Did you ever make any sacrifice in your life? What you call sacrifice in your terms?
Yeah, I can give you an example of sacrifice. So this is just a very simple one. Have you ever seen people asking for money in the streets? Sure,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, who hasn't? So anyway, if you are of the opinion that you don't have to give them money, right? They're just sitting there asking for them. They are no one to you, right? But someone, I don't know, let's say a police officer comes to you and says like, yeah, you have to give that person your money, right? And you're like, okay, fine, right? So they're just basically forcing you to. So yeah, that's sacrifice.
So when somebody forces you, it is sacrifice.
That's
to me, it's
that's
enforcement.
one case. That's one case, right? Of course it's enforcement, but from your position, of course it's sacrifice, right?
Wow.
If you want an example of just you making a sacrifice, okay, so take any case where, I don't know, any case of a parent asking you to do something for them, and you kind of have like, well, at this particular moment, maybe you have something really, really valuable going on to you, but you kind of have to do this for them because they're parents. So once again, I'm talking about a specific set of values for a specific person, right? If something is of more value to you than helping this relative, who maybe is not a person you want to do something for, but you do it anyway, that's sacrifice.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
What
What
can you
else?
say about taxes in that case?
Taxes? Oh, taxes are the worst.
Sacrifice.
Taxes are basically like enforced robbery. So this is legal robbery. So okay, so that's it. And well, I highly recommend that you read.
How can I be rich, not selfish,
This is So this is a whole another matter, and this is a whole another subject that you have to consider. Here we have given. This is another subject totally. This doesn't have to do anything with rational selfishness. You just cannot. You have to do this to just preserve your basic
Just,
lifestyle.
Maybe you have some.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people do that, but some people don't pay tax. Are there any officials here? Government officials? Yeah?
Maybe next time we have a speech about.
Yeah, let's not. Let's have it in some encrypted
After
chat.
talking.
I don't know, but yeah, so not here. But this is a whole other matter. Yeah.
And I have to say that we sense any commitment. When you commitment to someone, you don't already haven't any choice. You just do it, and it's enough.
You see, okay, so I think I understand what you're trying to say. So it's a matter of who you commit to, right? Once again, if you commit, well, are you talking about relationships right now?
No,
Not
just
only?
about any type of commitments.
Yeah, of course, but that is trade, right? So if you have a contract, for example, with someone, right? That's a commitment, but that's a commitment which is voluntarily accepted by both parties. That works for me, that works for you, we have a deal. Of course I have to, right? But that's not sacrifice. I have agreed on the terms.
I had some argue a few weeks ago with my partner just about commitments. Where is
Yeah.
the border? What I have to do or what I can't do. And my partner said that this border is here, and I said it's not here.
Oh, okay,
It's
so
out of here.
all right.
It's not a way of selfishness.
But it is. You see, so it's like, all right, when you have different like opinions on where the border is, right? But if you still have some value to gain from that person, I mean, this is a good partner. You do good business together, right? Together you can move further. It's in your best interest to make a deal with that partner, to agree on where the border is. Maybe in the middle, maybe somewhere in the middle. That's not sacrifice. That's compromising on rational terms. But if they say like the border is here because I said so, okay?
Not so rude, just I can say.
No, it's like So this is a once again this is a longer discussion that we have to have in this case. Yeah, but thank you. All right, yeah, thanks.
Can I summarize just for myself?
Sure.
Is being rationally selfish just very close or same to being centered?
Centered?
Centered.
is a whole
Centered
different
from yourself.
term. Nah, really? Yeah, that's a whole different situation. If you're centered with yourself, that's inner balance. That's talking about emotion, that's talking about, well, centered is a broad term. See? It's a broad thing. It's just centered, I'm centered, for example, right? So maybe I'm calm, maybe I have some inner balance, that's it. Rational selfishness, or selfishness for that matter, is just the state. Well, no, rational selfishness is about the mind, is about the mindset. Centered is just about your.
So you split emotions and mindset.
Look, I don't split them; they work together.
Yeah.
But centered and selfishness, it's a different thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they're different things.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? I see one. Please, can somebody pass the mic?
Hello, thank you for the presentation. Do you know the book about selfish pigs or something like that?
Selfish pigs?
Yes, comic books about pigs that behave extremely selfish. This is humor.
No, I don't know that book, but
I ask your opinion about their behavior.
Right, okay. So, judging by what you said, pigs who behave extremely selfish, I can already say that it's not about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you see, it's like extremely
You
selfish.
see, those pigs in these books behave extremely rational, but dangerous for the others. For example, in one situation, they utilized every parachute. Okay.
Okay.
One had 3, but others fell without anyone to the ground.
Okay.
So they were sort of overprotected with additional devices. But other participants presumably died.
Okay. Yeah. Right. I don't know.
Maybe
I'll try
you
to
give
find
it
it
a chance. Maybe you give it a
Yeah,
chance.
I'll give it a read for sure. For
It's
sure.
related to your topic.
Oh, I doubt it, but okay. So yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
That was a big one. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So guys, it's